Hi, everyone. It is 12 o'clock. I wanted to get started. We have a lot to go over today. I thank everyone for showing up and taking a break on this hot, muggy summer day. And what the goal of today is going to be is to get through some social media tips and tricks that I have learned through my 12 years of doing social media for clients and hopefully you can gain some knowledge. And I'm really trying to get through this in about 20 minutes so that we have a solid 10, 15 minutes at the end for questions, because that's really, I think, where you can learn the most is through the questions. So just to give you a quick little background on me, I have been doing social media before it was called social media. It was called Web 2.0 back in 2008, and I started that right in the very, very infancy of social media. I've evolved through it. I've learned through it. There wasn't a class to even take back then to learn about social media. So I have grown up through the evolution of it, and I'm excited to be able to share some of the tips that I've learned through the years. So let's get started. So which platform do you actually want to use? They're not all made for you. They're not all made for your business. These are the ones that I'm going to talk about today. There's always new ones coming out. I'm not going to focus on these. I'm going to focus on the ones that are in front of you. Now, you'll see at that bottom right corner, right down here, you'll see this icon you may not recognize, but it's actually Google My Business icon. It is not a social media platform, but I'm throwing it into this conversation for a few reasons that you'll learn in a little bit. So just a few recent facts about social media. Um, People spend, well, I don't know about you. I spend maybe a little bit longer because this is what I do for a living. But on average, people spend 2 hours and 23 minutes on social media every single day. And 98% of those people are looking at 4 platforms daily, which might seem like a lot. But think about how many times have you looked at Facebook, then you might have popped over to Instagram, then you looked up something on YouTube, how to do something to your house or for your car or whatever. And then maybe you popped onto LinkedIn. There's 4 right there. And that's not even talking about some of the others. So that is a statistic that is fairly new, and many people are on all different kind of platforms. 70%, 76% of people will actually purchase after seeing a brand post, meaning a company post. So this takes a while to figure out how to post effectively, how to convert. But just understand, if you learn how to do this well, it can mean actual money in your pocket. Now, I'm throwing this one up at you because 14% of Twitter users are in the United States. So I'm saying this because when we talked about what platform is going to be best for you, I want you to remember this statistic, because a lot of the Twitter um, activity happens outside of the United States. So if you have to pick and choose, Twitter is normally on the bottom of my list for companies that don't have a lot of time to be able to take for their social media. Just a quick housekeeping message I forgot to mention. There's a Q&A, so as you have questions, you can put them into the Q&A section, and then we can have time at the end to talk about those. So which platform's best for you? Not all are made for your business, as I said. So when people come to me, I decipher what their goal is and what type of business they have to decide on which one should they put their effort and time. Listen, we don't have unlimited time. We don't have unlimited energy to do this. So we need to pick the right ones for now. We have, of course, Facebook. Facebook is wonderful for reaching consumers. It is where people 35 and over spend a lot of their social media time. So if you're trying to reach that demographic, that's a great place. It has become very overcrowded and busy, so it is harder to get your message through, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Facebook, people do expect you to have some sort of Facebook presence. Is that where you need to spend your time? It depends on who you're selling to. If you want the mass majority of people to know about your business, I would say Facebook. If you only sell to businesses, that would be another platform. Instagram, I always think of Instagram and Facebook kind of together because Facebook owns Instagram. However, Instagram is perfect for a business that uses visuals. So if you're a home designer, if you're an architect, if you're a photographer, anybody that has a business that you need to show your product or show your service, Instagram is really important for you. It is all visual. It is all pictures, graphics, video. That's what Instagram is about. If you have a business such as a CPA firm, Instagram can still help, but is that where you want to put your energy and your focus? Maybe not. Twitter, as we discussed, doesn't have a ton of use in the US. You probably wouldn't think that when you watch the news, but only 14% of Twitter users are actually in the United States. I will get into some strategies to be able to use Twitter, but Twitter is a platform for nonprofits, is a great platform for them. Anybody looking to be in the news, anybody looking for national sales, national reach, Twitter would be good for that. But if you have a business that's localized, that I would say Twitter would probably be down on your list. Now, LinkedIn, we all know about LinkedIn. That actually was one of the first social media platforms that came out back in 2008 when I started to get into social media. So LinkedIn's been around for a while. It has changed. If you are selling to business professionals or businesses, that's where you need to spend your time. You need to be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where business professionals hang out. That is where you can share your expertise, and we'll get into some strategies with that. So business to business, you need to be on LinkedIn. YouTube. So YouTube, I have been pushing for years. Some people are hesitant because they think that they have to create all these really great videos. That's not the case. You can actually use a YouTube channel and be able to share videos. And we can get into those strategies as well. YouTube, once again, if you have a visual business, if you have a service business like that CPA company that I just talked about, YouTube is actually a really good platform because you can give all types of advice. You can give little tips and tricks. Law firms, it's a great platform. So just because you might not have anything visual to share, YouTube, you get to share your knowledge. Now, I put Google My Business at the end with those question marks because no, it's not a social media platform. However, it is very important to not ignore your Google business listing. And I'm going to explain how you can repurpose the content that you're using on every place else in your Google business listing. So let's jump into Facebook. So Facebook, this is the only one I talked about paid ways to use it because Facebook's advertising, I think, is really, really good. They have so much information on us. It's scary. And because of that, though, we can target advertising specifically to types of interest. So I'll get into the paid, but that's the reason I have paid up on this Facebook slide, because I do want to talk a little bit about that. But organically means that you're not paying for engagement. You're not paying for people to find your post. So I think one of the biggest frustrations that clients have is that I post, but nobody sees it, nobody likes it, nobody comments. Only 4 people, it reached 4 people. How do I do better with that? Now, what I'm talking about is posting on business pages, not posting on your personal profile. When you have a business, you want to always start with posting on a business page, and then you share it on your personal profile. So if you see, my first tip for Facebook is to share, like the post, and I capitalized everyone. So many times I see businesses who have employees, who have cheerleaders, who have vendors that use them, and they never leverage them on social media. So all that I'm asking you to do and all that I'm recommending for you to do is the least your employees could do is to follow your Facebook page. And when you post, have them like it and have them share that post onto their Facebook profiles. What happens is when you post on a Facebook page, Facebook is making um, is making the post show up on some people's wall and not others. The reason is Facebook looks at everyone's engagement. And if you've engaged a lot on a page, let's say that you have always liked one of your friends' posts or has always liked one of your page that you follow, one of their posts, you're going to see their posts more and more. If they're friends that you never interact with, or if they're pages that you never interact with, Facebook's going to realize that you're really not that interested in them and they're not going to show you those posts. So the biggest way to be able to share your posts with more people without paying for it is to have as much engagement on those posts as possible. Because then Facebook thinks that that post is probably pretty good because, there have been 25 people that have liked it and 10 people have shared it. So they're going to show it to more and more people that are following your page. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is to join groups and post as your business. So this is fairly new. There's all types of groups that are within Facebook. And we're talking about everything from community groups to entrepreneur groups. If you're trying to sell to business owners, you name it and you look it up on Facebook, I'm sure there's a Facebook group for it. Baltimore has probably 3 or 4 Baltimore business networking groups that have thousands of people in them. So I would say join the groups, and Facebook has now allowed people to join groups as a business or as your page. You have to have a page to do this. So for instance, I run the Northwest Chambers Facebook group. I have joined some groups like Reisterstown groups and Owings Mills groups as Northwest Chamber, not as me as a person. I've joined both, but I specifically joined as my page, Northwest Chamber, so that I can share our posts as the Northwest Chamber and get more engagement and get more reach within the communities that I'm interested in. So that's tip number two. Tag other pages in your posts. So for clients, when I have an interior designer client, she loves certain vendors that she uses, tile shops and things like that. So when we post and she has used those vendors in those projects, I tag those vendors in the post. So understand this presentation is really tips and tricks. It's not exactly how to do it, but I just want to make sure that you understand what to do, and then you can explore later how to do it. But when you tag pages in, they get a notification that they were tagged. So all of a sudden, they're going to go take a look at your post and then decide if they want to share it to their audience. You might only have 200 or 300 people following your page, but that tile shop might have 2,000 people following their page. And then all of a sudden, now those 2,000 people have seen your post. So whenever you post as a business on your business page, tag in relevant pages that might make sense for that post. And then hopefully they will pick it up and share it to their audiences. And that is a way that you can get more engagement. More engagement without having to pay a dime. Now, emotions are really important. So there's been a lot of studies about emotions and why do people share certain posts and why do they gloss over others. Happiness, amusement, and fear are the 3 emotions that get the most engagement with posts. So if you can sprinkle in some posts that will give happiness, amusement, or fear, then, well, we really don't like the fear part, but that's what works. So maybe it's the end of the year is coming. Have you thought about, um, looking at your taxes, those kind of things. It doesn't have to be, physical fear. It can just be like, oh, the year is coming to an end, or we're halfway through the year and I still haven't done this kind of fear. Happiness, amusement, and fear are the three top emotions that it will take for people to share, comment, or like on a post. So just have that in the back of your mind as you're creating these posts. Now, I have upload videos, don't link. So what that means is that you're going to actually take a video file and upload it into your business page versus finding a link on YouTube and sharing it. So let's just say that you've created a marketing video or you've created a tips and tricks video. You're going to put it in a YouTube channel, which we'll talk about, but you'll put it in there. But when you are sharing it on Facebook, share it as an actual video that's being uploaded into Facebook. The reason is Facebook likes those videos better. They will share them with more people. When they are being shared from YouTube, they will not show those as much. So the best chance you have of people seeing your video on your business page is if you upload the video right into the page versus sharing a link over to it. And go live. This is really scary for a lot of people. We have a live Friday session at the chamber, and we are very lucky to have DJ Big Vanilla, aka Dennis Klein, to do these for us. And he's absolutely great. If you want to take a look at our past videos and get some tips from him, it's a lot of fun to watch. However, going live can increase your viewership because people that are following your page, remember those 200-300 people that are following your page? When you go live, they will get notified right away that you are live. So they get dinged. And if they're on Facebook, they'll see that and they'll probably pop over and see what you have to say. It's a really good trick to be able to get everyone's attention at once and not hope that they kind of trickle over or trip over your video, that they're actually going to be notified that you're going live. So all of what I just said are things that you can do on Facebook to get more engagement with your posts without paying a dime. Now, if you want to start paying some money, what I would say is I would have a budget of at least $5 a day minimum. So if you can't spend $5 a day, then I would say hold off and reevaluate until you can. You probably won't see the result. Now, when I'm saying $5 a day, what I'm saying is that's a regular campaign. Those are ads that run and come up in people's walls, in people's news feeds on the right-hand side of the page. Have you ever noticed as you're going through and scrolling the news feed, there's a post in there from some company you've never followed, but it'll say sponsored. Well, that's an ad and you've hit their demographic somehow. So when I'm talking $5 a day, I'm talking about that type of ad. There is another way that you can push out a post, and it's called boosting a post, and that can be done straight on your page, and it could be as cheap as $10, period. It just depends on what level you want to spend. So there are two different ways to get more engagement on posts. One is through advertising. One is a campaign, and the other is boosting, which is much more inexpensive, but it's only for that one post and that's it. Now I have video down here because when you do run a campaign, you have the opportunity not to just upload a picture, you have the opportunity to upload a video. And I have found that when you upload a video, and we're talking not a 5-minute video, we're talking 25, 30 seconds of what you're advertising. It's going to be a video that has to do with whatever you're trying to talk about. That does so much better than just doing a picture. So if there's any way, there's some softwares out there. There's one called Wave, I believe, that it's pretty inexpensive and they have templates already made up of video and you just kind of pop in content, and you can pop in music and things. It's pretty easy to maneuver. Those are perfect for this because they're normally about 15 to 30 seconds. And that could be a really good way to gain more attention and to gain more traction and engagement on posts that you're doing. Always have a call to action in your paid posts. So if you are doing a boost, make sure that whatever post you have posted on your page already has in the content, contact us for more information or visit our website for more information, something like that. Make sure that the post itself has the call to action. When you run a campaign, you can create your own button that will be whatever action you want them to take, to call, to download, to visit your website, whatever that is, but always, always have a call to action for them to do. Demographics are super important for any paid activities on Facebook. So there's part of the demographics always includes age range, male, female, those kind of things. Further down, they ask for interests. And that's really important to think through. So I have a client that sells boats. So we go into things that would be of interest, outdoor recreation, boating. And what'll happen is that ad will start to really super target just the kind of people you're trying to reach. So don't skip over the interest part when you're creating those ads on Facebook. And always try to do an A/B test. So this is a little bit harder to manage, but if you can do it, let's just say you have $500 budget for the month, split it in half and create 2 different ads. Use different colors, use different content, maybe use a picture versus a video, whatever the difference is that you can make. Because what happens is you'll start to learn which get more engagement and attention, and then you can start doing better advertising later. So if you see that the one that has the red and the yellow always does better, then use red and yellow in your ads. So that's the kind of information and knowledge that you'll get from A/B testing. And just make sure that when you are advertising anywhere, why should somebody click? So in the beginning, let's just say we do the $5 a day and we're going to try to get more, grow our audience on our page. What you're going to do is run an ad to follow the page, but tell them why they should follow the page. Why should I click on this ad? What am I going to get out of it? Make sure that your ad has that in there. Okay, I'm going to switch to Instagram now. So Instagram, like I said, I kind of group Instagram and Facebook together because you can sync them because Facebook owns Instagram. So Instagram can be a really fun place. You can create all types of different graphics. If you don't have a graphic artist on hand, which most of us do not, you can actually use Canva, which is a software for free graphics. Start to follow relevant profiles because profiles will then start to follow you. So find profiles on Instagram that will be relevant to your industry or to the types of audiences that you're looking for and start to follow those. Use hashtags. Hashtags are huge on Instagram and on Twitter as well. But hashtags are a way that people track conversations and track topics. So hashtag Maryland Life, hashtag voting life, hashtag beauty, whatever makes sense for your business, use that. Tag other profiles, just like with Facebook. You're going to find other profiles that might be interested in your post or that you're talking about within your post and tag their Instagram profiles. So Instagram and Facebook have something called stories. It's a little bit more advanced strategy, but don't ignore them. Once again, it's very visual. So what you do is you upload a picture, you upload a video into a story, and people can follow your story on Instagram. Video can be uploaded on Instagram. Video always does really well, so don't forget about that. Now, the video has to be on your phone and your pictures have to be on your phone. Instagram uploads are all on your phone, so you can't do it from your computer. And you want to engage a lot on Instagram. People like people that engage on their posts. So the more that you can follow others that might be relevant, even if it's a referral partner type of profile, do that and engage and like their stuff and share it and do what you can to give their post some boost. And multiple uploads. What you'll find is that Instagram initially will just want to upload one picture. There's a way that you can upload multiple pictures. So if my interior designer, for instance, we will upload maybe 5 or 6 to show a project. So don't ignore the fact that you can upload more than one picture in a post. And make sure that you respond to any messages. And that's really all across the board, to be able to respond to any messages coming in. Don't let them just sit there. So Twitter, once again, if you don't have a lot of time, you can auto post. You can sync Twitter with Facebook. So when you post on Facebook, it'll show up on Twitter. I'm not a huge fan of that, but if you have absolutely no time and you do want to be on Twitter, then do that. Pace does matter. Twitter's a fast platform. There's a lot of information. I explain it as kind of that ticker at the bottom of your screen on a news station. So pace does matter. And that's why if you don't have a lot of time, then Twitter may not be for you. Just like Instagram, use those hashtags. You can find topics to talk about, to respond to, and people can find your topics as you post. Now, Twitter, I think the biggest advantage you have with Twitter is that you can use it for PR. Reporters are all over Twitter. Media is all over Twitter. Local reporters are looking for people to interview. So what my suggestion is to find publications that make sense for you, local reporters, whatever that is, and follow them and reach out to them if you have something that's relevant that's going on in the community or relevant in the business community, and reach out and say, I'm here to be interviewed. I've done that before and it's worked. So if you do anything with Twitter, use it for PR purposes. And I really feel like Twitter is one of the best platforms to be able to talk to people directly through direct messaging. So when you do find that publication that you might want to write a blog post for, reach out to them directly on Twitter through the messaging that they have. Use visuals, which is really a trick for all of the social platforms. You'll see the trend of tagging all the other profiles. Once again, you want to tag them so that maybe they will share your tweet with their audience. If there's any profiles that you really want to get the attention of, make sure that you retweet their tweets, meaning that you're sharing their tweets. And then when people retweet your stuff or they start to follow your profile, send them a little thank you tweet out. And it really does have you set apart from others, that you took the time to send them a little thank you tweet for following me or thank you for retweeting. So LinkedIn, the biggest thing I can say is to post articles. So we all know how to do a regular post, but you can also, as a person, post an article, and you can have an internal blog within LinkedIn. So this is a really great way to take a blog post and repurpose it and have it sit in LinkedIn by itself. You want to post on your business profile first and then share it as a person. So you should have a business profile that's different than your personal. You're going to post on your business profile, and then there's a way that you can share it as yourself on LinkedIn to your own connections, but always post on your business profile. You can find different connections within LinkedIn, but only look for second-degree connections. Second-degree connections are people that know someone you know, because then you have something in common, and when you reach out to them, you're going to send them a personal note and say, I saw that we have 10 common connections in LinkedIn, and then go on from there. So there's always going to be a reason for you to have reached out to them to connect. And you can also use your connection area to search by industry. So you have all these connections. What do you do with them? I have 1,500 connections. What do I do? Well, you can go into your connection area, search by industry for your first degree connections, which are your immediate connections, and look for all lawyers. And then if you have a great article that lawyers would like, then share it through messaging within LinkedIn to those people. So it's a way that you can stay on top of mind, give them something of value, and share some knowledge, and maybe get a phone call out of it. And join those groups on LinkedIn, but not just your own industry groups. Join the groups where your audience might be sitting or your referral partners might be sitting. So don't just, if you're in banking, don't just join banking groups. Join maybe accounting groups, because maybe they can send you business. Advertising, do not advertise on LinkedIn unless you have a solid budget. A lot of people try to piecemeal this and it really doesn't work well. So make sure you have a solid budget. That would be, I would say, at least $500 a month to be able to do anything that's going to work on YouTube. I'm sorry, on LinkedIn. YouTube, you're going to create a brand channel. That's different than a regular channel. A brand channel, think of it as a Facebook page for your business is different than your personal profile. Well, the brand channel is different than just a regular channel. It allows you to have multiple people managing the channel and allows you to do some other things. However, you're going to need 100 subscribers before you can control the URL of your channel. So the biggest thing when you start a channel is get as many subscribers as possible as quickly, because then you can create a youtube.com/your business name versus this crazy URL that they come up with in the beginning. When you upload your videos, you're going to upload with keywords in the descriptions and in the tagging area. When you upload, you'll see there's different sections when you upload. Make sure you have the right keywords in there, so when people search, they might be able to come across your video. That is one of the largest search engines in the world, is YouTube, second to Google. Add a beginning and ending slide. You'll see how to do that as you upload, but what happens is you can basically brand your YouTube videos so they all look the same in the beginning and they all look the same at the end. And you can also add a call to action at the end automatically with YouTube. It'll say, do you want to add a call to action, which means at the very end, it'll say, do you want to subscribe to this channel, kind of thing. You can create playlists, and you can use those videos to embed into any emails, newsletters, your website, things like that, where you need to show video, but you don't want the video sitting in that platform itself. I know I'm going a little bit over longer than I wanted to, but hang in there with me. Google Business Listing, I am throwing this in there because it is very powerful for your search engine optimization. It's very powerful for your rankings with Google. What you do is you already have the content. We're already on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you're posting this stuff. Just pop over to your Google Business Listing and pop it in there. You can actually post just like on social media accounts. You can post in your Google Business Listing updates, graphics, video, whatever. It's just like a social media account for posting. This is also where you're going to solicit for reviews, and you can manage your reviews. If you go after reviews at all, have them go to Google. Facebook reviews are great. Everything else is great, but have them go to Google, because I think that's where the biggest bang for your buck will be. And you can create promotions and news. You can list products and your services all on that Google Business Listing. So I really think that since you already have created this content, then go ahead and pop it into that Google just for SEO purposes, for search engine optimization purposes. All right, so I do see that there is a question. Do you find that prime times to post varies between different social platforms? It does. It's funny, LinkedIn you would think would be during business hours, but it actually, the prime time for that is after 5 o'clock. I would never have thought that, but that's what it is. So I guess what people do is they work, and then they get home and then they pop on early evening onto LinkedIn. Twitter is really an all-day affair, but the morning seems to be best for Twitter. Facebook's really interesting because the back end of your Facebook page, you're able to see something called insights. And within the insights, it tells you the people that follow your page, the range of times that they're actually on Facebook. So each page is going to be different, but in general, most of it's in early, like in the morning, not super early, but in the morning, and then in the afternoon. Usually after 7 o'clock, it kind of shuts down and people aren't on as much. But morning and later afternoon seems to be best for Facebook. Okay, so if there's any other questions, please type them in there. I'm not seeing any more coming in. I know that I ran a little bit long, 5 minutes long. But if you do have additional questions, I just blew through a lot of information. And that was my goal today, is just give you some of these hints. I have recorded this. You can re-look at it, slow it down. I can give you the PowerPoints, whatever you need to be able to make this um, more effective for you. So what I would like to do is say goodbye, and let me know how I can help. Let me know what you need me to share from this presentation. Um, and oh, there is one other question. Do solopreneurs that don't have a lot of time, what do you do? So that's when, if you're by yourself running your business, you have to decide which platforms make the most sense for me. And what I would say is pick two and do them really well. So whether that's LinkedIn and Facebook, whether it's YouTube and Facebook, whatever that is, but pick two and do it really well. There's another question about Alignable. Alignable is a way to be able to connect with people, kind of like a, not necessarily like LinkedIn, but you'll be able to find some professional business people in your area to connect with. I like it. I don't like it in that it's not as it's not as easy to engage, and it's not as easy to share your information, I think, on Alignable. If I had to pick time and energy, I would spend it on LinkedIn, finding business people rather than Alignable, because more people are on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, I think, has more tools and resources to be able to share your knowledge and your services. So that's my opinion about Alignable. It's a little extra. It's a fun extra, but it's an extra. I think I would stick my time and effort in LinkedIn. And how do you get to see the recording? I will be sharing this on our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook page, the link over to it. And it's always going to be in our newsletter coming up on Monday. So newsletter, Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, you'll see links all within those three platforms. And then you can take another look and slow it down a little bit, but hopefully I was able to answer some questions, and I do hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of the day and reach out if you need me. Okay, thanks.